It was such a crazy, mind-blowing, psychic event that had happened that could not have happened without there being some connection between me and my friend in the non-physical realms. Synchronicity has been one of the biggest mysteries in my life. I love to dive deep into this subject because I think that the more that we can understand synchronicity and how to use it in our day-to-day lives, the more that we can get into and stay into alignment. So I'm going to be speaking about the link between following synchronicities and being in alignment and how to basically use them. And I'm also going to be sharing with you some of my favorite synchronicity stories that I love to share. So make sure you watch till the end, and then you'll get to hear all of the stories that I've got, which are just mind-blowing, to be honest. So what is a synchronicity? Carl Jung actually coined the term synchronicity, if you didn't know that, and he described it as a meaningful coincidence. The meaning comes from the person who is experiencing the events. So if you are experiencing synchronicity, then it all comes down to the meaning that you are giving it yourself. And in that way, we are connecting with our higher selves through these synchronicities that play out. But to go into what a synchronicity is from a more spiritual perspective, Deepak Chopra explains that these meaningful coincidences are actually orchestrated by a deeper intelligence, and that these events connect us with the flow of the universe, suggesting that everything is basically connected. What do you guys think? Share your experiences and what you think it is. Do you think it is the universe speaking to you? Just let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear your perspectives on it and what you guys think. I do have another video, by the way, which explains what synchronicity is in a little bit more detail. So I'll put a link in the bio for that video if you want to go and watch that. I highly recommend. One thing I've learned along my journey is that synchronicity does differ from just a coincidence in the way that it has meaning. So something might happen that's a coincidence, but you don't really have any meaning for it. Whereas if something happens and it's like, whoa, like I needed to hear that message, then that is your intuition basically confirming to you what this synchronicity means. And this is where we can start to get into alignment with our higher selves, what our intuition is telling us, by observing things that are happening in our reality. And this is how I use synchronicity on a day-to-day basis. I just want to say as well, if you are not experiencing synchronicity, there could be many reasons for this. One of the reasons could be that you aren't present, because we basically experience synchronicities when we are very conscious of our surroundings, and there might be a synchronicity happening, but if we are consumed with thought loops and what our mind is distracting us with, we are not going to be aware of synchronicities that might be happening in our immediate reality. So really becoming conscious of what's happening in your immediate reality, you will start to experience more synchronicities. Another reason why you might not be experiencing synchronicity might be because you don't need any signs in that moment. Like for me, I remember when I was quite out of alignment in the relationship that I was in. I was feeling anxious and needed, I think at the time, a little bit of a push from my higher self and my spirit guides, and they really were giving me a lot of synchronicities and coincidences in this time, because at that time I really needed those signs. I really needed that extra help to help me be like, this is the right thing to do. And I'll give you an example. Okay, this is one of my favorite stories of synchronicity. It is mind-blowing. Me and my friend were both going through difficulties in our relationships with our partners at the same time. And I hadn't spoke to her for a couple of weeks. I decided to break up with my partner. I went to sleep that night and I had a dream. I had a dream that my friend, who was also struggling with her partner, had broken up with her boyfriend as well. And in the dream, she was really upset. She was like crying her heart out to me, saying that she had broken up with her boyfriend. So I woke up the next morning and I was like, that's weird. I wonder if she's okay. So I messaged her and I said to her, I had a dream about you last night. Like, is everything okay? And she was like, no, everything's not okay. I broke up with my boyfriend yesterday. And I was like, what? That is crazy. Like, the fact that I dreamt that you broke up with your boyfriend, which led me to message you, and that had actually happened. I had no knowledge that she had broken up with her boyfriend before that. And not only that, I had broken up with my boyfriend the exact same day. And this whole synchronicity really helped me to feel confident in my decision that what I was doing was the right thing, because it was such a crazy, mind-blowing, psychic event that had happened that could not have happened without there being some connection between me and my friend in the non-physical realms. I felt so connected to my higher self and so grateful that I had been given that synchronicity, because sometimes when you come out of a relationship, it's hard. You don't know if you're doing the right thing, and like my mind can come in, and I was feeling quite sad that day. So that synchronicity really, really helped me to trust that I was in alignment with my decision. Another example I want to give you, similar kind of vibe to like what I was experiencing. I was thinking about quitting my job, and I basically said to the universe, what should I do? I don't know if to quit my job or not. And I wasn't expecting to get a message from the universe. I wasn't expecting anything. I just thought, I'll say a little prayer, and then I put my headphones in and it was like an instant message back. I was listening to A New Earth, or A Power of Now. I think it was A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. I put my headphones in, press play. The first line that he says was, sometimes when people are going through a spiritual awakening, they get up and they leave their jobs because they realize that this is not right for them. And I'm paraphrasing because I can't remember exactly what he said. And I was gobsmacked. I was so shocked at how this has happened. I was like, that is the biggest sign. Like, you just feel like someone's listening to me out there, because that was way too much of a coincidence for that to be not some sort of intervention by the universe. Guys, guess what? I had the confidence that day after that synchronicity to go in and quit my job. I didn't even have a backup plan. I went in, quit my job, left at 12 o'clock. And then the next thing that happened was another series of synchronicities. There was many of them, actually. I was then really, really determined to start a business. Like, this was the first business I'd ever started, guys. So I've made a lot of funny mistakes, which aren't even mistakes, they're just lessons. But I basically came home from my job and I was Googling how to make money. And one of the things that I found was dog walking. And I love dogs, and I've always had dogs, so I thought, I'm going to try that. The funny thing is, when I left my job, my brother said to me, Amy, you need cash flow. And I was like, oh, okay, I do need cash flow actually, because I'm renting and I need to pay for my rent. And I'm asking the universe, oh, should I do this dog business? I don't know if to commit to it. What should I do? I come out of my house and there is a lady and she's calling her dog. And guess what her dog's name is? She's like this, cash, cash. And I'm like, stop. Like, what is this? So I was like, okay, I'm so confident this is going to be the way that I'm going to get cash quickly. And it was. I did actually start a little dog business in London, and I did have quite a few clients. I ended up getting another job off the back of that, which was working with dogs on the weekend, which was like the best job ever. So all of these things just like happened in such synchronicity, and it was a time where I was really unsure. Like, there was a lot of uncertainty, and I think sometimes when we're having these periods of time when we are feeling a lot of uncertainty is sometimes we get signs from the universe, sometimes not. Sometimes the universe might want you to experience that uncertainty. So I really think that whatever we're experiencing at the time is what is needed for our expansion and for our growth. Another synchronicity that happened, one time I was meditating, and I do a lot of visualizations for manifesting, and basically I was doing a visualization where I would visualize getting a new client, a new dog walking client. I was visualizing the exact dog that I wanted. I remember saying in my head, I want a cockapoo, because for some reason at that time I thought that they would be easier, more well behaved. So I was trying to manifest getting a cockapoo. I came out of my meditation. I looked at my phone. I had got a request from a dog walking client, a potential dog walking client, with a cockapoo. Literally, during my visualization, this happened. And I was like, no way. I didn't even end up getting that client, I'm going to be honest with you guys. But the fact that that happened, I was just like mind blown again. What is going on? I'll give you one more story which I want to share. So I started to meditate with archetypes at one point, and this type of meditation is where you basically bring a specific archetype to your awareness and you call in the energy of that archetype. So whatever that kind of energy is, you're calling it in to help you guide you through your life. One of the archetypes that I chose was the dolphin. I drew a little picture of a dolphin tail and put it on my altar. I'll show you it. I made this little piece of art. And yeah, been visualizing dolphins and things like that. A few days later, I go to Spain with my friends, my girlfriends. We are on a boat. And for the first time in my life, I'm on the ocean and there are dolphins everywhere. So many dolphins came up really close to our boat and were playing around in the sea and like coming up out of the sea. There was a baby dolphin. Guys, this is really weird. For the last week, I've been doing this prayer where I call in dolphins, and now I'm seeing dolphins for the first time in my life. Like, coincidence or the energy of the dolphin? Huh? Oh my god. I've been praying and like speaking to the dolphin archetype for like the last week. Haven't seen dolphins in real life ever in my life, in the ocean, in the wild. A week later, I see real dolphins. And I was like, so choked up. I was like, I love you. I love you, dolphins. Thank you so much. It's just so weird. But I think this is honestly just how our reality works. Also, is like if we are thinking about something a lot, then it shows up more in our reality. In terms of how you can use synchronicity to be more in alignment, my biggest tip is to be aware of what you're thinking of when the synchronicity happens. Be aware of the meaning that you are giving to these synchronicities. You will know deep down what this is trying to tell you, what you want to tell yourself, what your intuition, your deeper self wants you to know. And this is the best way that I have learned to use synchronicities on my path, getting back into alignment. When I say alignment, I mean that our feelings, our thoughts and our actions are all in alignment, in agreement. So if you have one that is disagreeing or pulling you in a different direction, then it's something that you want to think about and really understand what it is that needs to shift for you to get back into alignment. I will make another video on getting into alignment because I think this is really important. Like at the time of my breakup, when I was going for a breakup, I was seeing 2-2 everywhere, like everywhere. And I knew that like sometimes I'd be thinking about something to do with the breakup, and then I'd see 2-2, and it was like a confirmation that yes, what you're thinking, trust yourself. Basically, it's time to trust yourself. Listen inside, listen to your intuition, listen to what your inner guidance is telling you, to work out the meaning and the purpose of these synchronicities, and trust yourself, because the more you trust yourself and the more you follow your intuition, the more magic will happen in your life, the more miracles will happen in your life. So with that being said, guys, let me know in the comments your synchronicity stories. Please let me know your synchronicity stories. I love hearing about these mysterious events that happen in our lives. So let me know, and I can't wait to hear them and speak to you guys. But that is it for this video. So I'll see you in the next one. Namaste.